Another day, another stupid office. Devon Messier was a veteran of offices, of waiting rooms. They all had the same happy magazines, the advertisement flyers for this or that pill to cure depression, anxiety, ADHD, ADD, and every other clinical name that shrinks had thought up to slap onto kids who didn't come up to their family's standards of appropriate behavior. He almost wished his parents would try pills on him for a change. If he didn't like what the pills did to him, he could always throw them up. One of the bulimic chicks at the last concentration camp had taught him how to throw up at will, because a good way to get a camp counselor off you was to projectile vomit on him. And if you started throwing up, they tended to get nervous and stick you in what passed for an infirmary and leave you alone. He was 15, and long before he'd gotten anywhere near troubled teenhood, he'd seen more of shrinks' offices than a clinical psychologist 4 times his current age. He'd been through every kind of give-in and submit camp, therapy, program, and counseling there was, and by now he knew they came in 2 kinds, the kind that put the broken kids back together, and the kind that tried to break kids that weren't broken. Devon wasn't broken, and he didn't intend to break. He didn't know why he and his parents had been on a collision course ever since he could remember. It wasn't that he had a deep-seated hunger to set kittens on fire, or any of the more terrible things he'd found out that other kids did once they'd started putting him into those programs and groups calculated to turn him into a good little robot. But he asked questions. He always had, ever since he'd been a little kid. He'd wanted to know why, and how people knew what they knew. Dad said that made him insubordinate. He'd gone and looked the word up in the dictionary and said he wasn't. Dad had refused to discuss it. Mom had, as always, taken Dad's side. Devon had yelled. He'd been sent to his room. He'd gone out the window. He'd only been gone a few hours and a few blocks before a policeman had brought him back. And Dad had been even more furious. He guessed he'd been 7 then. Things had never gotten any better. One of the few psychologists Devon met that he'd actually liked had told him his only problem was that he was 12, which meant he was subject to whatever his parents determined was best for him, too bright for his own good, which meant he didn't just accept things passively and didn't suffer fools gladly, which meant that when things didn't make sense to him, he was always flapping his mouth about it. Unfortunately, in Devon's opinion, the world was full of fools.